Hi, this is Carmen, and this is a presentation on the social cognitive learning theory for PIDP 3100. Let's jump right in. The social cognitive theory consists of three components which come together and coincide in order for the learner to adopt or mimic behaviors. These three components are the social context or environment, the learner's own emotions, attitudes, or mental state, as well as the observation of modeled behavior. This theory stresses the importance of observational learning, imitating, and modeling. This theory started to develop in the early 1960s by a psychologist named Albert Bandura. Bandura is a world-renowned psychologist awarded for his contributions to learning and psychology. He took it upon himself to build off of Pavlov's behaviorism theory, which is the thought that behavior is a result of a stimuli in the environment. Bandura felt that this theory was way too simple to describe humans' complex learning abilities and thought that there was a little more to it. Instead of this action-reaction mentality, he thought that behavior was a function of the interaction of a person with the environment. And so he pictured these elements of learning as a triangle, where each portion was interactive and reciprocal. Bandura now needed to prove his theory, so he did what psychologists do best and he held his own experiment, the Bobo doll experiment. For those of you who don't know what a Bobo doll is, it's a child's toy that has a low center of mass and stands about 2 feet tall. When you go to knock this over, it just bounces right back up. So in 1961, Bandura took 72 girls and boys between the ages of 3 and 5 and split them into 2 evenly mixed groups. He then placed each child into a room to play with some simple toys as the Bobo doll sat on the other side of the room. He would then introduce an adult model. For the first group of children, the adult would simply be in the room paying no attention to the Bobo doll. But with the second group, the adult would show aggressive behavior, both verbally and physically, towards the Bobo doll. The children were then taken to another room filled with all kinds of stimulating toys, but told that they couldn't play with the toys very long as they were reserved for other children. The purpose of this was to create emotions of anger and frustration within the children. The children were then placed back in the first room with simple toys and the Bobo doll by themselves. After observation, Bandura found that the children who were exposed to the aggressive adult model were more likely to show aggression to the Bobo doll than the children who were exposed to the non-aggressive model. With this experiment, we see that the combination of the environment the children were given, the observation they had of the adult model, and the emotional frustration that was triggered all were key factors in how the children exhibited behavior, thus proving Bandura's theory that environment, observation of behavior, and personal interests coexist for an optimal learning experience. With the advantages of this theory, we see that the instructor has more focus on the learner, the student determines cognitively what the appropriate behavior is, and a competent role model can achieve a higher number of positive or desired behaviors. The disadvantages of this theory include instructors may have a do as I say, not as I do attitude. Personal effort from the student is crucial, and not all models are suitable. When we take a look at the roles of this theory, we see that the educator needs to create a positive environment. They also need to help guide appropriate behaviors, as well as help students to set realistic expectations and goals. With the student, they need to believe that they are capable of accomplishing tasks. They also need to set their goals and expectations of learning, and they also need to closely observe modeled behaviors and learn from them. In summary, being that the theory consists of behavior, the person, and the environment, we as instructors can apply this theory to our classroom to facilitate the self-guided adult learner in almost any subject. This concludes my presentation on the social cognitive learning theory. I hope you enjoyed. Here's a list of references if you'd like to do some further reading on the theory.